became clear very quickly that young Dolph was going to be a star, and so Gotti waged war with him through music.
Of all of this, again, Hernandez Govan, who's facing charges for first-degree murder, conspiracy, and attempted first-degree murder in connection to the shooting death of Memphis rapper Young Dolph in November of 2021.
Nearly 4 years after Young Dolph's tragic murder shook the rap world, a jaw-dropping courtroom twist has reignited the case. And there's one question echoing louder than ever. Where in the world is Yo Gotti?
But at the same time, now he in hide mode because he can't even push that agenda. No, he can't sell no music. He can't sell himself.
He don't want.
Nearly 4 years after Young Dolph's tragic murder shook the hip-hop world, the case is back in the spotlight with a courtroom twist that's got the streets of Memphis buzzing. Hernandez Govan, the man accused of orchestrating the hit, has seen his trial pushed back repeatedly, adding fuel to fire. But what really set the internet ablaze? The shocking murder of Yo Gotti's brother, Big Juke, and Gotti's sudden, unexplained disappearance from the public eye. He hasn't been charged, not even named in court, but his silence? It's deafening. Now, with courtrooms heating up and the blogs going wild, there's only one question echoing everywhere. Where is Yo Gotti? As Govan stood in front of the Memphis judge during pre-trial hearings, he didn't name names, but dropped cryptic comments, vague references to outside conversations, and big money moves. Fans instantly connected the dots, and the conspiracies took off like wildfire. At the same time, Yo Gotti went completely ghost. No interviews, no statements, not even a shout-out during promos for his biggest artist, Moneybagg Yo, for a man who practically lives on Instagram. Flexing luxury, CMG wins, and Memphis pride, the silence is strange, suspicious, even his last post, still sitting there untouched, while the comment section turns into a war zone filled with theories and demands. It didn't take long for hip-hop YouTubers, Reddit detectives, and Twitter threads to zero in. They dissected every word Govan said like it was an episode of Making a Murderer. Hashtags like hashtag Where is Gotti, hashtag CMG Silence, and hashtag Dolph Trial started gaining traction from Memphis to Atlanta. Basically anywhere Gotti's empire casts a shadow. Even his inner circle started acting off. His usual hype team? Silent. CMG's co-manager? No public moves. Black Youngsta, who's usually all over social media, posted absolutely nothing. Not even a meme. And let's be honest, that's not coincidence. That's calculated. But here's the twist. This whole thing goes beyond courtrooms and news reports. It's about the strange quiet at the heart of Southern rap. When a figure like Gotti, the self-proclaimed king of Memphis, goes radio silent during a moment this critical, it doesn't feel like hiding. It feels like a message. Some believe he's ducking the smoke for security reasons. Others think he's plotting something major behind the scenes. Either way, one fact remains. Gotti hasn't been charged, hasn't been named as a suspect, and there's no paper trail tying him directly to Dolph's murder. But perception is power. And right now, his ghost mode is making more noise than if he'd gone live. For someone who built an empire off control, strategy, and always being 3 steps ahead, the sudden silence, it's louder than a diss track. Blogs can't stop buzzing. Fan theories are spiraling. And like it or not, Gotti's disappearance has become its own storyline in the aftermath of Young Dolph's legacy. Before his name went nationwide, Hernandez Govan was just another name moving through Memphis with street ties.
Trial was originally set to start on March 10th. It has now been pushed back to July of 2020.
In certain circles, but mostly off the radar to the public, to law enforcement. Though, he'd been a person of interest for years. A Memphis native through and through, Govan wasn't originally seen as a centerpiece in the killing of Young Dolph. But that changed fast. In late 2022, the investigation into Dolph's murder took a sharp turn. Prosecutors unveiled something way deeper than anyone had expected. In November, the Shelby County grand jury dropped the hammer. Hernandez Govan was indicted on 3 major charges: first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. According to District Attorney Steve Mulroy, Govan wasn't just involved. He was the alleged mastermind. The ambush that took young Dolph's life happened on November 17, 2021, right outside Makeda's Homemade Cookies in South Memphis, a neighborhood spot Dolph supported regularly. While Govan isn't accused of pulling the trigger himself, court documents claim he set the play in motion, behind the scenes, allegedly giving orders, arranging the hit, and coordinating what prosecutors say was a calculated execution. What shocked people most wasn't just the charges, it was the timing. Govan's indictment came nearly a year after Dolph murder. That delay told the world one thing. This case wasn't simple. Investigators had to peel back layers of shadow moves, social ties, and underground connections just to build the case. But then came a chilling twist that added even more weight to the story. Hernandez Govan wasn't just a known figure in Memphis. He was a father of L.A. Cash Desto, an up-and-coming female rapper with momentum and major ties, especially to Lil Uzi Vert. But just weeks before Govan was indicted, Destiny Desto, Govan was shot and killed in Houston, Texas, in September 2022. The timing was eerie. While Houston police haven't connected her murder to the Dolph case, fans and internet detectives couldn't ignore how close the events were. Rumors started flying. Was there a deeper connection? Was her killing retaliation? Or was it something else entirely? Officially, no link between the two murders has been made public. But behind the scenes, law enforcement have been tracking Hernandez Govan for months, long before they made their move. That quiet surveillance suggests
43-year-old Hernandez Govan, who was just indicted in the rap star slaying, along with Johnson and Cornelia Smith, once lived just a few houses down.
This case isn't just about one deadly moment outside a cookie shop. It's about power moves, shifting alliances, and a city caught in the crossfire of hip-hop and street politics. And now, as Govan awaits trial, the pieces are still falling into place. 6/28. During pre-trial hearings in the Young Dolph case, prosecutors revealed that they had phone pings, text messages, and even recorded conversations they claim link Hernandez Govan directly to the people allegedly involved in planning the hit. While the full wiretap files remain sealed, prosecutors believe these digital breadcrumbs tell the story of someone who orchestrated the ambush from behind the scenes. Govan, however, has maintained his innocence, pleading not guilty to all three charges: first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and conspiracy. Despite the seriousness of the accusations, Govan was granted bond in early 2023, walking free on a $90,000 release. That decision caused outrage across Memphis, especially among supporters of Young Dolph, who were stunned to see someone accused of such a high-profile conspiracy back on the streets. What really set the courtroom, and later the internet, on fire was a cryptic remark Govan made during a bond hearing. While pleading for leniency and framing himself as a cooperative, grieving father who had recently lost his daughter, up-and-coming rapper Lotta Cash Desto, Govan allegedly made a vague but loaded comment in court, others with influence. He didn't drop any names, but that one phrase ignited a digital frenzy. YouTube sleuths, bloggers, and Reddit theorists immediately jumped on it, speculating that Govan had just hinted at more powerful players lurking behind the scenes, potentially ones within the music industry. Prosecutors pushed back hard, warning that releasing Govan could endanger witnesses and obstruct an ongoing investigation. They even hinted that federal agencies were monitoring the situation, suggesting that what the public had seen so far was only the surface. Still, despite initial hesitation, the court allowed Govan to remain out on bond. But the firestorm he unintentionally created with that one cryptic line continued to spiral far beyond the courthouse. Chapter 4. CMG Under Fire. The internet connects the dots. As the case against Govan picked up steam, attention began turning toward one of the biggest names in Memphis rap, Yo Gotti. While Gotti and his label CMG Collective Music Group have not been named in any official court documents, that hasn't stopped fans and online investigators from digging into old beefs and revisiting long-standing tensions between Gotti and Young Dolph. Their rivalry stretches back years and reportedly began when Dolph turned down a deal to sign with CMG. That rejection turned personal, with both artists trading public shots, diss tracks, and behind-the-scenes drama. Things escalated in 2017 when Dolph's bulletproof SUV was riddled with over 100 rounds during an incident in Charlotte. At the time, Yo Gotti was briefly named a person of interest, not due to direct evidence, but because of the well-known beef. No charges were filed against Gotti, but CMG artist Black Youngsta was arrested and later cleared due to lack of evidence. The streets never forgot. So when Hernandez-Govan made that vague others with influence comment in court, it was like gasoline on an already lit fire. The internet wasted no time linking it back to CMG. Fans began dissecting lyrics, analyzing old interviews, and pulling up old social media posts to try and piece together any potential connections. Even more fuel was added when Gotti himself suddenly went quiet, vanishing from public appearances, skipping big events, and going silent on social media. For a man known for flaunting his wealth, promoting his artists, and never missing a moment to represent Memphis, that silence became deafening. The absence of CMG's usual online energy, including from figures like Moneybagg Yo and Black Youngsta, only fueled further suspicion. While there is no evidence officially tying CMG to young Dolph's murder, the combination of past beef, internet obsession, and courtroom innuendo has created a storm of speculation, one that's only grown louder with time. And just when things couldn't get more intense, a new twist dropped. In a surprising turn of events, a jury in Memphis found Hernandez-Govan not guilty on all charges related to young Dolph's killing, first-degree murder and conspiracy included. The verdict came quickly, after just 3 hours of deliberation. Govan walked free, but for many in Memphis and across the hip-hop world, the questions haven't gone away. If Govan didn't orchestrate the hit, who did? And what did he really mean when he said, others with influence? The legal system may have made its ruling, but the streets and the internet are still waiting for answers. This story is far from over. Since the assassination of young Dolph in November 2021, the streets of Memphis and the global hip-hop community have been locked in a storm of grief, speculation, and unanswered questions. The investigation led to the arrest of 3 men, Justin Johnson, a.k.a. Straight Drop, Cornelius Smith, and Hernandez-Govan. While Johnson and Smith were accused as the gunman, Govan, who wasn't even at the scene, was indicted as the alleged mastermind, charged with conspiracy and solicitation of first-degree murder. According to prosecutors, Govan coordinated the hit, playing a behind-the-scenes role in a calculated ambush outside Makita's Homemade Cookies, a black-owned business Dolph had long supported. Surveillance footage captured 2 mass shooters firing dozens of rounds through the storefront, taking the life of a community icon and independent rap mogul in broad daylight. The public execution sent shockwaves through Memphis and beyond. The investigation deepened when it was revealed that the white Mercedes-Benz used in the hit was tied to a previous shooting in Covington, Tennessee, suggesting this was no isolated act. The case quickly spiraled into something far more complex than a simple street beef. Govan, the father of late rapper Lotta Cash Desto, who was fatally shot in Houston just weeks before his own indictment, has pleaded not guilty. But during a bond hearing in 2023, his cryptic comment about others with influence exploded across the internet. He never named names, but fans immediately drew lines towards CMG, Collective Music Group, the powerhouse label led by Yo Gotti. Though no court has ever linked Gotti, CMG, or any of its artists to Dolph's murder, no subpoenas, no charges, no legal ties. Public speculation hasn't let up. That speculation intensified after CMG members began acting uncharacteristically quiet. Gotti, known for flaunting his wealth and label wins online, went completely silent. No posts, no statements, no appearances. Even his close affiliates went ghost, and fans noticed artists unfollowing each other and avoiding press. For a label that usually dominates social media, the sudden quiet was deafening. At the center of it all is a long-running tension between Gotti and Dolph, stemming from a failed signing attempt years ago. That beef spilled into diss tracks, interviews, and even a 2017 shooting in Charlotte, where Dolph's bulletproof SUV was hit with over 100 rounds. Gotti was named a person of interest but cleared. CMG artist Black Youngsta was arrested and later released due to insufficient evidence. Still, the streets never forgot. So when Govan mentioned others with influence, fans and bloggers ran with it. YouTube detectives and Reddit sleuths pounced, dissecting every lyric, interview, and breadcrumb. Even more suspicions arose when Govan was released on $90,000 bond, a move that shocked the community and added fuel to already burning theories. Though prosecutors have leaned heavily on digital forensics, cell tower data, text records, and phone logs, the courtroom has also been marked by missing witnesses, sidebars, sealed federal evidence, and a growing list of unanswered questions. One explosive moment in court came when a witness briefly named Anthony Big Juke Mims, Yo Gotti's brother, as someone who allegedly placed a six-figure hit on young Dolph. The courtroom immediately went into sidebar, and the moment was never publicly revisited. Months later, in January 2024, Big Juke was shot and killed outside a Memphis restaurant after attending a funeral. Authorities confirmed it was a targeted hit, but offered no suspects or motives. The timing, so close to the trial and his name's appearance in court, sent the internet into a frenzy. Was this retaliation? A silencing? A coincidence? Officially, no connection has been confirmed, but in the court of public opinion, it's the loudest unanswered question yet. Inside the courtroom, Yo Gotti's name has never been officially mentioned. No testimony, no filings, no charges. To some, that's proof he has nothing to do with it. But to others, that silence feels too clean, too strategic, especially with mentions of sealed federal files, witness protection, and behind-the-scenes deals surfacing during closed-door discussions. With only Govan, Johnson, and Smith currently indicted, and no public confirmation of further suspects, many fans believe the full truth is still locked behind redacted pages and federal silence. Govan's defense argues there is no physical evidence placing him at the scene, nor proof he ordered the hit, despite prosecutors insisting he was the puppet master. Meanwhile, outside the courtroom, a different kind of trial is playing out online. Fans, bloggers, and amateur investigators have turned into full-blown detectives, piecing together timelines from lyrics, live streams, and old interviews. Some say this case is a symptom of a larger issue, where music, street politics, and real-life violence collide. Others believe young Dolph's success as an independent artist threatened a system built on control. Whatever the reason, one thing is certain. Dolph's death has left a permanent scar, not only on his family and fans, but on the entire landscape of hip-hop. As the legal process crawls forward, the mystery only deepens. Hernandez Govan was recently found not guilty after just 3 hours of jury deliberation, walking free despite the intense scrutiny. With that outcome, the most pressing question remains. If he didn't mastermind the killing, who did? Was this truly the end of the investigation, or just the end of public part? Whether the sealed files contain deeper truths, or whether the courtroom silence is meant to protect ongoing federal probes, the public remains hungry for answers. The biggest name that hasn't been mentioned in court continues to echo louder than ever. Where is Yo Gotti? And until that question is addressed, both in the legal system and on the streets, this story is far from over.